So, by the way, we're live on YouTube. Naka-live tayo ngayon sa YouTube. Lahat ba to senior high? Lahat ba kayo senior high? Or first year accountancy students? First year BSA. Okay. Oh, may BSMA. Management Accounting. Tama ba yun? Let's wait for 2 minutes, okay? After that, we will start, okay? Do you have any question before we start? Meron po ba kayong mga tanong before we start? Hanggang matapos tayo. But ano yan, that's maximum of 2 hours. Can you hear me loud and clear? Class? Can you hear me? Okay. Adjusting items pa naman ang pinakamahirap sa basic accounting. Right? Tama ba? Kadalasan dyan nahihirapan yung mga bata eh. And among the adjusting items, the very difficult, no, are these remaining 2 items. The deferred income and the prepaid expenses. Bakit? Kasi may dalawang method kang tatandaan for each. And to do it correctly, no, to do the adjusting entry correctly, you will analyze, no, kung magkano yung amount na i-adjust mo. Okay? Yung adjusting entries for merchandising business, let's see, no? But basically, this webinar series is for service type of business. Adjusting entries for service type of business. Soon, no? Tingnan natin kung madidiscuss natin yan. I hope you will support our YouTube channel. Pretty sure, no, there will be tutorial videos for merchandising business. Just wait for that, okay, class? So, okay, siguro wala na yatang mag-a-add. So, let's start. Okay? So, hi class. Welcome to our last day of free live webinar series. The series for our basic accounting topic, prepare adjusting entries. And we are now on the 5th and the 6th adjusting items, which are deferred income and prepaid expense. Ready na po ba tayo? Game?
Game po, sir.
Okay, sige. Game. So, define muna natin. Okay? Deferred income. Okay. Let's go with another slides. Yan. Can you see it, class? Can you see it?
Di, Sir, wala po.
Sorry. Talaga. Wait lang ah. Hindi ko pa na-share. Okay. Sorry. Nga. Yan. Can you see it?
Opo.
Okay. So, again, deferred income is income already received but not yet earned, and so classified as liability. While prepaid expense, it is expense already paid but not yet incurred, and so classified as asset. Okay? So, ganito. Deferred income or unearned income muna tayo, okay? Deferred income or unearned income kung tawagin din to, no? Dito muna tayo. And when we say deferred, ibig sabihin yan na delay, tama? O sa Tagalog, pinagpaliban, tama? Pinagpalibang alin? Income. Okay? Sir, kung pinagpalibang income yan o na-delay na income, ibig sabihin in the future magiging income siya? Yes. Tama po? That's correct. In the future, magiging income siya. That is for sure. Okay? Pero sir, kailan? Kailan? That is when you earned it. Okay? That is when you earned it. Kapag kinita mo na yan, no? Kapag yung service na provide mo na sa customer mo. Of course, that is for service type of business. O di kaya, earned yan o kita mo na yan kapag yung goods na deliver mo na kay customer for a merchandising or manufacturing type of business. Tama? Okay? Clear po yon? Okay. Parang ano lang din to eh. Parang deferred CPAs. Tama? Pending CPAs. Pinagpalibang CPAs. Pero in the future, magiging CPA. Tama po yon? Deferred CPA pero in the future, sigurado magiging CPA. Okay? So parang ganun lang din yung konsepto niya. Okay, kailan kayo magiging CPA? That is when you earned it. You earned your preparation, you earned your confidence, and you earned your determination. Okay? At hihintayin namin yon, mga future CPAs. Okay? Agree po ba doon?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Anyway, bigyan ko kayo ng example no, ng deferred income scenario. For example, ikaw ay lessor. Okay? And before, si tenant makagamit ng pwesto, nire-require mo sila magbayad ng 1 year in advance na rent. Okay? Now, on the moment, income mo na ba yun? Hindi pa. Tama? Hindi pa. Bagkus, liability mo. Tama? At magiging income yan once na nagagamit na ni Lessee yung alin, yung office space, no? Lessee means yung nangungupahan, okay? So, once na nagagamit na ni Lessee yung office space na nilaan mo sa kanya, okay? Nagiging income mo na yun. Okay? Sabihin natin na 10,000 per month yung renta mo at nanghingi ka na ng one year rent advance, tama? 10,000 per month yung renta at nanghingi ka ng advances for 1 year. And for that, how much you receive? Magkano na receive mo? Magkano? 10,000 per month yung renta mo, then nanghihingi ka ng 1 year advance ng rent. So magkano in total ang na-receive mo? 100? 120,000. 10,000 monthly rent times 12 months. Tama? At hanggat hindi pa nagagamit yung office space ni Lessee, utang mo yon sa kanya. Okay? Pero as time goes by, every month, may ma-earn ka na 10,000. Dahil nga, nagagamit na yung renta o yung office space mo na nilaan mo para sa kanila. Maliwanag po? Maliwanag po yun. So again,
Opo.
deferred income is income already earned, income already received, okay, but not yet earned. And so, classified as liability. Tatandaan po yan, okay? Next, we have prepaid expense. Prepaid expense tayo. So sa prepaid expense, no, or other term for this is deferred expense, dinelay na expense. Okay, parehas lang din 'yon. When we say prepaid, of course, meaning bayad na. Hindi mo pa lang nakokonsumo o nagagamit. In other words, may advance payment ka lang na ginawa para sa future expenses mo. Tama? Pero sir, kailan magiging expense? That is when you incurred it. Okay? That is when you incurred it. Okay? Incurred yan pag nagamit mo na o nakonsumo mo na yung bagay na binayaran mo in advance. Okay? Bigyan ko kayo ulit ng example. For example, ikaw ay may business, no? Gusto mong i-advertise yung business mo sa isang TV network. Okay? But the agreement is that you pay the TV network in advance for 1 year advertisement. And so, asset mo yon since at that moment na nagbayad ka in advance, wala pang nangyayaring advertisement para sa business mo. Tama? Let, I, let us say 60,000, no? You pay 60,000. Good for 1 year yon. Okay? So meaning, kada buwan, magkano charge sa'yo ng TV network? 5,000, tama? 60,000 for 1 year. So meaning, kada buwan, 5,000 i-charge niya sa'yo. And every month, habang nakokonsumo mo yon, nababawasan yung prepayments mo. Simultaneous sa pag-recognize mo ng advertising expense. Kasi nga, naipapalabas na yung advertisement mo sa TV network nila. Okay? Maliwanag po? Maliwanag
Opo.
po yun. So again, pag sinabi natin prepaid expense, it is expense already paid but not yet incurred and so classified as asset. Tatandaan mo yan. Okay? Now, next slide. There are two methods when adjusting deferred income and two methods also when adjusting prepaid expense. So first, let's go with deferred income. We have two methods to adjust deferred income, and that is number one, liability method, and the other is income method. Okay. Again, what is a deferred income under our ALEREX? No, under our ALEREX categories, asset, liability, equity, revenue, or expense.
Liability.
Liability. Tandaan nyo na, deferred income is a liability account. Kaya saglit lang. Okay. So clear tayo doon. So when we say liability method, the deferred income was originally recorded as liability. Okay? Sa madaling salita, ni-record mo siya as liability, yung deferred income. And tama ang ginawa mo. Kasi liability naman yun. Tama? Now, the question, what will be your pro forma adjusting entry? Ito yun. As you can see in the screen. Debit, deferred income, credit, income. Okay? We debit the deferred income, ito, or the liability account, meaning binabawasan natin yan. Tama? Kasi when we debit a liability, that means we decrease the liability. Tama? At the same time, as you notice, we credit income. Meaning, nadadagdagan yung income. Kasi when we credit income, that means we increase it. Okay? Tatandaan yan. Now, when we say naman, income method, okay, the deferred income was originally recorded as income. Klaro yun. Okay? Pero alam natin, mali yun kasi deferred income is a liability. Pero yun ang ginawa eh. Ni-record as income. We can't do anything with that but to adjust only. Okay? Kasi, bakit kasi yun nangyayari yun? Most of the small or micro businesses, no? Itong mga maliliit na negosyo na to, ang alam kasi nila, basta nagbayad si customer, income na yun. Tama? Kahit hindi pa naman nila nare-render yung service. sa customer nila. Diba? Tama po? So kapag ganito, kapag ganun ginawa, meaning cash basis approach yung ginagamit ng business. Cash basis approach. Okay? When we say cash basis approach, the income, no, receive, or sorry, the payment or the collection received is recognized as income. Okay? Or in other words is the income is recognized when received regardless of when earned. Okay? Kasalungat to nung accrual basis na alam natin. Okay? Teka. Ay, nasa na yun? Wala. Okay. Okay? Yun yung kadalasan kasing common sa mga small businesses. Basta may na-receive na pera galing kay customer kahit wala pa silang nare-render na service, no? Income na sa kanila yon, no? Kahit hindi pa naman talaga. And kapag ganun ang treatment, we say it as cash basis. They recognize the income when received, regardless when earned. Okay? So now, teka. Okay. Okay? Clear ba tayo doon? What's our pro forma entry? Debit, income. Okay? Credit, deferred income. Okay? As you notice, sa adjusting entry, we debit income, meaning binabawasan natin. Tama? Kasi when we debit an income account, that means we decrease it. Okay? At the same time, we credit the deferred income or the liability account. That means, nadadagdagan yung liability. Kasi when we credit liability, that means we increase it. Okay? Tatandaan mo yan. Okay, bigyan ko lang kayo ng tip. Okay? Para mas madaling matandaan. As you notice, class, pag liability method, ano yung naka-credit sa adjusting entry?
Income.
Income. Tama? Yung income account. Liability method, then ang naka-credit income. Kabaliktaran. Okay? Tama? Kung liability method, so dapat sa adjusting entry, income account ang credit natin. Ang tanong, magkano ilalagay natin na amount? Yung amount ng income na na-recognize natin, okay, for the end of the accounting period. Kasi nga, di ba, pag credit mo income, meaning, pinapataas mo yun. So, kung magkano man yung income na na-recognize for that period, yun ang ilalagay nating amount for this adjusting entry under liability method. Tatandaan yon. Now, pag income method, as you can see, ano ang nakakredit sa adjusting entry?
Deferred income.
The deferred income or the liability account. Tama ba? Kabaliktaran ulit. Tama po? Kung income method daw, no, dapat sa adjusting entry natin ang credit, yung liability. Okay? Tandaan yan. Magkano ilalagay na amount, sir? Yung amount ng liability na natitira at the end of the accounting period. Okay? So, di ba, pag credit natin ng liability, that's mean increases. It increase, di ba? So, ilagay mo dyan kung magkano yung natitirang liability for that deferred income. Okay? Clear po ba yon? Wala ulit. Clear po ba yon?
Yes po.
Okay. So,
Opo.
tandaan mo na yan. Now, let's go with prepaid expense. Okay? So, for prepaid expense, two methods again. Asset method and the expense method. Again, what is prepaid expense under our ALEREX categories? Asset, liability, equity, revenue. Asset. Tama? So when we say asset method, the prepaid expense, no? Pag asset method, the prepaid expense was originally recorded as asset, of course. Kaya nga asset method. Now, the question is, what will be your pro forma adjusting entry? Okay? Debit, expense. Credit, prepaid expense. No? So again, pag dinebit natin yung expense, that means pinapataas natin. At the same time, pag credit natin yung prepaid expense, which is an asset account, meaning binabawasan natin. Okay? Okay po ba yun? Next, Pag expense method, no? The prepaid expense, teka, kanina pa to eh. Okay, yun. Pag expense method, meaning the prepaid expense was originally recorded as expense. Okay? What's our pro forma adjusting entry? Debit, prepaid expense, credit, expense. So of course, pag dinebit natin ng prepaid expense, that means we increase it. Pag credit natin yung expense, that means we decrease it. Okay? Sir, tama po ba yung ginawa na yung prepaid expense is recorded originally as expense? Alam natin mali because prepaid expense is an asset method. Pero like what I've said kanina, wala na tayong magagawa doon. Tama ba? Most of the time kasi yun talaga yung thinking ng mga maliliit na negosyo. Ang alam nila, pag nagbayad na sila sa supplier, kahit wala pa namang nare-render na service sa supplier, expense na yun. Okay? Okay? Again, this is consistent to cash basis approach. Yung kaninang binanggit ko, in which expense is recognized when paid, regardless of when incurred. Okay? So, opposite lang din to ng accrual basis na alam natin. Okay? Okay? Okay. So, ito ulit ang tip. Okay? As you notice, tama? Pag asset method, ito, asan na? Ito, asset method. Diba? Pagdating sa adjusting entry, no, ano ang nakadebit natin?
Expense po.
Expense. Expense account ang nakadebit. Kabaliktaran ulit. Diba? Kung asset method, so dapat expense account ang debit natin pagdating sa adjusting entry. Okay? Malinaw po ba yon? Now, magkano ilalagay natin na amount? Yung amount ng expense na recognize natin for the end of the accounting period. Okay? Now, pag expense method naman, okay, sa pro forma adjusting entry natin, ano ang nakadebit? As you can see, asset. Tama? Asset. Kabaliktaran ulit. Pag expense method, isipin mo, dapat asset yung nakadebit pagdating sa adjusting entry. Basta baliktad. Okay? Ngayon, magkano ilalagay mo na amount? Yung amount ng asset na natitira at the end of the accounting period. Clear po ba yon?
Yes po.
Okay. I hope so, no? So, ganito. That's it for concept. Okay? Ganun lang siya kasimple. Before we go with the illustration, no, let's have a deal. Okay? Before we move to illustration, let's have a deal. No? I want you to familiarize this, no? The methods, the adjusting entry for different methods for deferred income and prepaid expense. Okay? 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 Tell me what will be your pro forma adjusting entry for deferred income, both under liability and income method. The same with prepaid expense. Tell me what will be your pro forma adjusting entry for both asset method and expense method. Okay? I will do it first. Siyempre, hindi ko titignan. Okay? So, after ko, kayo naman. No? This is the deal. Okay lang ba? Magkaroon tayo ng deal? Okay lang po?
Yes
Okay lang po.
Okay. Kapag nalito, kasi after ko, tatanungin ko kayo eh. Kapag nalito kayo, hindi na kayo cute. Pwede bang ganon? Pwede ba yon? Hindi na kayo
Pwede,
cute.
sir.
Okay? That's a deal.
Okay po.
Sige sir, di naman po talaga ako cute.
Okay? Kapag nalito, hindi na cute. Okay? So para cute
Wait
ka,
lang, sir.
pa rin, dapat hindi malito. Okay? Dapat tama yung pro forma adjusting entry mo. Okay, ganito. Para maiwasan natin yung sabay-sabay na magsalita, no? No talks. Okay? Walang magsasalita. Just write it down your answer in the chat box. Also, those who are watching in the Facebook, YouTube live, okay? Wala magsasalita. Just write it down as I said the question, no? Okay? Of course, provide it in the comment section. Sabay-sabay, okay? Mabilis after I said the question, okay? Agree? Deal ba tayo doon? Ha? Deal ba tayo doon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, aalis ko na to ha. Iaalis ko muna yung screen. Pupunta ako doon sa YouTube. Okay? Pero let me give you 5 seconds to remember it. Okay? 5 seconds for deferred income, then 5 seconds for prepaid expense. Okay? So, 5 seconds starts now. Okay, done with deferred income. Let's go with prepaid expense. 5 seconds starts now. Okay? So, okay na ba yun? Kaya, dito tayo. Dito tayo sa Google. Gusto ko sabay-sabay pag magta-type. Okay? Once I said the question. Pero before that, no, ako muna pala. No? So, hindi ko rin nakikita yung screen. As you can see. Diba? Wala yung ano natin, yung PowerPoint natin. So, ako muna. Okay? So, pag nalito, hindi na cute. Okay? So, ako muna. I'll do it first. No? Okay, sasabihin ko lang. For deferred income, pro forma adjusting entry under liability method is debit, deferred income, credit income. Under income method, debit, income, credit, deferred income. Tama ba ako?
Opo.
Okay. For prepaid expense, pro forma adjusting entry under asset method is debit expense, credit prepaid expense. Under expense method, debit prepaid expense, credit expense. Tama ba ako?
Po.
Okay. So, tama ako. Ibig sabihin nun, ako ay? Okay, good.
Cute.
Cute.
Okay. Now, this time, your
Sana all.
ano naman. Ang tawag nito.
Pa-shout out po nga PB.
This time, kayo naman. Wala magsasalita. Mabilis ang mabilis ang pagsulat lang ng sagot. Okay? Of course, you will write debit, deferred income for example, then credit income. Okay? But, may tatanong ako. Okay? Depende sa tanong ko yung susulat yung sagot. Okay? Ready? Tandaan, pag nagkamali, sa shoutout ko, ibig sabihin di na cute. Okay? Okay, sige, game. This is my question.
Wait.
Pro forma adjusting entry for prepaid expense under expense method. Go. Write down your answer. Okay, isa pala nakikita kong sumagot. Yun, dami na. Okay, anong tanong ko? Pro forma adjusting entry for prepaid expense under expense method. Expense method, di ba? So, kabaliktaran dapat yung adjusting entry. Tama? So, debit. Anong debit dapat? Asset. And that is debit, prepaid expense, credit expense. Okay, good. Dami nakatama. Shout out sa inyo lahat, okay? Cute pa rin kayo.
Shoutout sa mga cute.
Okay. Next question. Mabilis ang sagot. Okay? Pro forma. Adjusting entry under income method. Deferred income, of course. Pro forma adjusting entry for deferred income under income method. No, may nakita ako hindi nagkamali. Okay? The correct answer, pag deferred income and then income method, so meaning, tama, ang i-credit natin dapat yung kabaliktaran. That is liability. So, adjusting entry for deferred income under income method, debit income, credit deferred income. So, tama. Marami din nakatama. Still, cute pa rin. Next, pro forma entry or pro forma adjusting entry for prepaid expense under asset method. Go. Adjusting entry for prepaid expense under asset method. Yun. Okay? Since asset method, no? So kabaliktaran pagdating sa adjusting entry. Tama ba? Debit, expense. Credit, prepaid, expense. Now, last question. Pro forma entry for deferred income under liability method. Go. May nagkamali. Pro forma adjusting entry for deferred income under liability method. Hindi na ako cute. Okay? That's correct. Debit. Debit. Yun. Deferred income, credit, income. So kabaliktaran, since liability method, dapat ang credit mo, income. Okay? So very good. Okay? May mga nalito, no? So, pero still, marami naman nakatama. So, therefore, cute pa rin, no? Okay? Cute pa rin. So, kung nalito ka, di ka cute. For this period of time only, ha? After this webinar, at binalikan mo, nalito ka pa rin, cute ka pa rin. Okay? Okay? Baka kasi may sobrang malungkot dyan, eh, no? Okay? Anyway, we're just doing this for fun and for you to focus or to familiarize the pro forma adjusting entries. Okay? So now, let's go with illustration. Before we answer this, no? Any question? Any question? May question po ba?
Sir, yung ano po, yung prepaid, sa prepaid expense po, ang halimbawa ga po na yun ay ano, insurance.
Oh, yes, pwede. Basta may advance payment kang ginawa for a number of periods, no? Pwede yun.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, parehas po ba yung prepaid tsaka deferred?
Prepaid tsaka deferred, yung salita lang yon mismo?
Yes, sir.
Actually, mas proper na gamitin sa expense, prepaid, ano? Pero actually, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, prepaid expense or deferred expense, parehas lang yon. Okay? Kapag may expense sa tawag nito, may expense sa dulo. Pero kung ang tanong mo is prepaid and deferred na na salita, para may pagkakaiba yon. Pero for prepaid expense or deferred expense, parehas lang yon. For accounting terms, okay? Any question?
Wala na po.
Okay, sige. Let's go with the illustration. To. On November 1, 2020, B1 company collected an amount of 75,000 in advance for 5 months rent from its lessee, B2 Incorporated. The company uses calendar year period. Alam na natin ang calendar year period, right? Ito yung start at January 1 and at December 31. Tama? Okay. Now, what is the requirement? Prepare all necessary journal entries and adjustment in the books of B1 company under the following method. So, liability method, income method. Okay? So, let's do it. By the way, sino dito si B1? Yung nangungupahan o yung nagpapaupa?
Yes, sir.
Yung lessor, yung nagpapaupa. Tama. Okay? So, sa kanya yung i-record natin na mga transaction. Okay? To record the original transaction under liability method, what will be your entry? Sa books ni B1.
Deferred income.
Original transaction, ha? Nakakolekta ka daw amounting to 75,000. Tama? Ito muna, entry muna natin for November 1. Kung nakakolekta ka, debit, cash. Tama? Tama po? 75,000. What's your credit? Liability method. So, dapat that is a liability account. Ito yun.
Income.
Original entry under liability method on November 1, 2020, debit cash 75,000. Tama? Unearned rent income, credit, 75,000. Ang unearned rent income, liability account yan. Okay? Unearned pa nga eh. So meaning, you're saying it as a liability. Bakit siya natawag na liability method? Kasi yung original transaction was recorded as a liability. Ito nga yun, as you can see in the screen. Tama po? To record advance collection of rent for 5 months. Tama? Now, sa adjusting entry under liability method, sabihin nyo muna ano ang pro forma entry. Debit,
Deferred
deferred income,
income.
credit,
Income.
income. Okay? Thank you for answering. So tama 'yon. But the question is magkano? Okay? Balik tayo lang sa problem. Sabi daw 75,000 yung nakolekta na renta in advance. And that is good for 5 months rent. Tama? So meaning kada buwan magkano yung renta?
15,000.
15,000. Tama? 15,000. Now, ending December 31, 2020, ilan buwan yung na-earned mo na rent? Start,
2 buwan po.
2 buwan. That is correct. So the amount that we will be presented in our adjusting entry is equals to
2 months.
2 months. And
30,000.
that is 30,000.
30,000.
As you can see. Adjusting entry under liability method, December 31, 2020. Katulad ng sinabi nung kanina, ang dinebit natin, unearned rent income. Ang credit natin, rent income. Tama po? Di ba pag liability method, dapat ang credit yung kabaliktaran. So income yun. 30,000. Ang nilalagay nating amount, yung amount na na-earned for that period. Okay? Okay? Yun. Pwedeng pa-off natin yung yung mic. Pa-off nung mic nung may background sound. Ayan, okay na. Ito 'yun kung paano nakuha. Okay? Just to give you something to analyze. Okay? As you can see, 5 months 'yun. So starting November, tama? Then December, then next year January, February, then March. Puro 15,000, tama ba? 15,000 times 5, 75,000. And highlighted in yellow, that is the earned portion of the rent. Tama? November up to December. Kasi yung cutoff natin or yung adjusting period natin up to December 31. Okay? So yung natitirang 3 buwan, yun ay hindi pa natin income. Kahit nakolekta na natin yan in advance. Okay? That's why, nung pinakita natin sa adjusting entry, ang pinakita lang natin na rent income as credited, meaning tumaas yan, amounting only to 30,000. Maliwanag po? And check this T account, ledger account under T account form. So, nung November 1 daw, nung naka-receive ng pera, nag-credit siya ng utang amounting to 75,000. Then the adjusting entry, nag-debit siya ng unearned rent income. Ang natitira na lang niyang utang is amounting to 45,000, which is correct as you can see dito. Ito, di ba? Tatlong 15,000 to, tama ba? So tama yan. Pagdating sa rent income, ang direcognize niya as credited amounting only to 30,000. Tama? 30,000. And that is consistent with this computation. 2 buwan na na-earn for 2020. Tama po yon? Gets po ba yon?
Opo.
Okay, next. Paano naman kung ang ginawa, instead of liability, ni-record siya originally as income? So what will be the journal entry? Ito yun. Debit cash, tama po? Naka-receive ka ulit ng pera eh. Credit, rent income, 75,000. Sir, ba't ganun? Ang deferred income is liability account. Ba't niya na-recognize as income? Wala tayong magagawa. Yun kasi yung alam niya. Okay? Ang magagawa na lang natin, i-correct yun by means of adjusting entry. Okay? Diba? Katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, cash accrual to eh. Cash accrual. Cash basis kasi yung ginawa niya dito. Kahit hindi pa niya income lahat yan, ni-recognize as income na. So, pro forma to adjust under income method. Debit.
Debit income, credit, deferred income.
Very good. Kabaliktaran lang. Ang i-credit mo yung liability account pag income method. So, ito yun. Debit rent income, 45,000. Credit unearned rent income, 45,000. Diba? Ang credit natin liability. And sabi natin kanina, ang ilalagay nating amount, yung natitirang liability. That's why hindi 30,000 yung nilagay natin dito. Bagkus 45,000. Kasi yung 45,000, yun pa yung hindi, yun pa yung natitirang liability. Tama po? As you can see, tama. Binalik ko lang yung kanina nating explanation. So 15,000, 15,000, 2 months lang kasi na-earned. So the remaining 15,000, yung tatlong ano na yan, 15,000, that is the unearned portion o yung natitira pa nating utang. Since income method natin, income method ang nangyari, pagdating sa adjusting entry, ipapakita natin kung magkano yung natitirang liability. That's why we credit the liability account. Okay? Then, as you can see, sa ano natin, T account, unearned rent income, 45,000. That is coming from the adjustment on December 31, 45,000. Tama? Sa rent income, November 1, ni-recognize natin as income lahat. Tama ba? So, credit 75,000. Then, we reduce it by the adjustment amount, 45,000. Then, rent income balance, ending December 31, 30,000. Take note, class. Tandaan mo yan. Unearned rent income, 45,000. Rent income, 30,000. Parehas lang din yan dapat sa liability method. Parehas lang ba? Unearned rent income, 45,000. Tama? Rent income, 30,000. Liability method to. Tama? Balik tayo sa income method. Unearned rent income, 45,000 pa rin. Rent income, 30,000 pa rin. So, hindi yan magbabago. Ang nagbabago, yung amount and the account titles na gagamitin mo for the original transaction entry and in the adjusting entry. Maliwanag po ba yun?
Yes, sir.
Is that clear? Okay.
Opo.
Any question? Question? Wala pa naman siguro. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
late po kasi ako ng join.
Sige.
Ano po yung pinagkaiba ng income at saka ng liability method po?
Yun nga. First, the entry with regards to the original transaction. Mag-iiba yan. Pag income method, meaning yung transaction, no? Nung na-receive mo yung advance collection, ang pag-entry mo sa kanya, ni-recognize mo as income agad. Okay? Income method yun. Okay? Pero alam natin, pag ano kasi advance collection, no, alam natin liability dapat yun eh. Deferred income nga yun eh, di ba? Pero wala tayong magagawa ulit. Kasi yun ang nangyari. So, pag may advance collection, income method, meaning yung original transaction, ni-recognize as income. Okay? Now, pagdating sa adjusting entry, ang gagawin natin, bawasan natin yung income. That's why ang adjusting entry pro forma natin, debit, income, credit, liability, or deferred income. Tama ba? So, pag liability method naman, original transaction was recorded as liability. And that is correct because deferred income is a liability. Tama? Now, pagdating sa adjusting entry, under liability method, we credit the income. And we debit the liability. Binabawasan natin yung liability natin. At the same time, we recognize the income kung magkano man yun at the end of the accounting period.
Opo.
Okay?
Okay po.
Any question?
Thank you po.
So, kung wala, let's proceed. Next. This time, prepaid expense scenario tayo. Okay? Prepaid expense scenario tayo. On September 30, 2020, Superman Company paid an amount of 50,000 in advance for 4 months rent to its lessor, Batman Incorporated. The company uses calendar year period. Okay. Prepare all necessary journal entries and adjustment in the books of Superman Company under the following method. Letter A, asset method. Letter B, expense method. Again, si Superman Company, ano siya dito? Yung nangungupahan o yung nagpapaupa?
Lessee.
Lessee. Yung nangungupahan. Tama po? Okay. Now, the question is, what will be the necessary journal entries for this transaction? Okay. Pag asset method, di ba, nagbayad si Superman Company. Ano kaya ang entry niya? Originally, on September 30.
Debit, prepaid expense, credit, cash.
That's correct. Debit, prepaid expense, credit, cash. Asset method eh. So, on the original transaction, we record it as asset. Okay? Ito yun. Tama? Ang ginawa niya, debit, prepaid, rent. That's an asset. 50,000. Credit, cash, 50,000. Siyempre, nagbayad siya eh. Mabawasan mo yung cash mo. Explanation, to record advance payment of rent for 4 months. That's fine. Okay? Okay tayo dyan. The question is, what will be your adjusting entry under asset method?
Sorry.
Okay?
Ano kung hindi dito? Tinapos? Hindi.
So, please off the mic para ano. Ayan. So, what will be our adjusting entry under asset method? Okay?
Ano daw?
Paki-off na lang po yung mic para maiwasan natin yung background noises. Okay. So, on December 31, 2020, ito ang entry natin. Debit. Balik nga tayo. Kunyari hindi mo nakita. Pro forma entry for asset method. Adjusting entry, okay? Pro forma adjusting entry under asset method. Debit.
Debit expense,
Kabaliktaran.
credit.
Credit, prepaid expense. So, ito yun. Debit, rent expense, credit, prepaid rent. Amounting to 37,500. Sir, paano nakuha yan? Di ba 50,000 for 4 months? And pag dinivide mo yun sa 4 months, ibig sabihin, every month, 12,500. Tama? So, from September 30. Teka sir, September 30 nagsimula. Bakit October ang starting anong count mo dito? Di ba September 30 yun? Alam namang mag-recognize ka pa ng expense for September 30. Kinabukasan, October na. That's why we will start in October. Tama? Para isang buwan na ano mo na siya. Na use mo yung renta. So, October, November, December, that is 3 months only. So, a total of 37,500 yung nakonsumo mo na. And therefore, recognize it as your expense. Tama? So, ang ilalagay natin dito for this adjusting entry is the amount of the expense. Okay? So, ito yun. Yan. Incurred portion, tatlong 12,500, 37,500. Not yet incurred, yung natitirang isang buwan. In the next year yun, makukonsumo. January 2021. Now, as you can see in the T account form, originally, the transaction was recorded as asset. So, nag-debit siya ng 50,000 noong September 30. Pagdating sa adjusting entry, nag-credit siya ng 37,500 kasi hindi na nga yan asset. Yan ay dapat expense na. Kaya nakikita mo dito sa baba, yung rent expense, nag-debit ka ng 37,500. Tama po?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next. Kapag expense method naman, of course, the original transaction was recorded as expense. Pero dapat hindi. Pero wala tayong magagawa doon. Only to adjust. Okay? So, debit niya, instead of prepaid rent, ang ginawa, debit, rent, expense. Expense nila, in-expense na lahat. 50,000. Then credit cash, 50,000. Okay? Now, what will be your pro forma adjusting entry under expense method? Debit,
Prepaid rent.
prepaid rent. Very good. Binaliktad mo lang. Tama? Credit, expense. So, for this, ito yung sagot. As you can see, nagbago yung amount, di ba? Kanina dito, 37,500. Take note, sabi ko kanina, una, pag asset method, babaliktarin mo lang. So, asset method, debit. Hindi dapat asset. Expense. Tama ba? Mali ito, teka. Tama to. Expense method, pero dito, pagdating dito, ano sabi niya? Asset. Sorry, palitan natin tong title na to. It should be expense. Ayan,
Yes, sir.
nakakalito tayo. Kaya nalito tayo. Okay? Adjusting entry under expense method. So, pag expense method, dapat debit ang expense. Pero, adjusting entry na tayo. So, dapat asset na yung debit mo. That's why what you have debited here is prepaid rent. Ngayon, ang amount na nilalagay natin dyan, yung natitirang asset. At alam natin na isang buwan na lang yung hindi pa natin nakukonsumo. And that is equivalent to 12,500. That's why you get the 12,500. Debit prepaid rent, 12,500. Credit rent expense, 12,500. Explanation to adjust the 1 month of rent not yet incurred. So, ito yun. Okay? So, mali na naman to. Palitan natin to para hindi nakakalito. Okay? So, as you can see, sa T-account form niya, prepaid rent, nag-debit siya ng 12,500. Rent expense, nirecognize siya originally, 50,000. Then, may adjustment na 12,500. Bawas yun sa rent expense. So, ang total niya, net rent expense is 37,500. Take note, dapat parehas yan with the asset method. Okay? Either of the two. Dapat parehas palagi ang balanse ng mga prepaid expense and the related expense niya. Tingnan natin, nasa na ba yun? Ito, tama? Asset method to. 12,500, 37,500 yung rent expense. 12,500 yung prepaid rent. Rent expense, 37,500. Asset method. Dapat sa expense method, parehas lang yan. Ayun. Parehas nga. 12,500, 37,500. Any question?
Sir,
Yes.
paano niyo po malalaman kung asset method or expense method po siya?
Ayun, katulad nung kanina, pattern lang din yan. Asset method, when the transaction was originally recorded as asset. Okay? Nirecord siya as asset. Of course. Tama ba yun? Tama po ba yun?
Opo.
Okay, so ang adjusting entry mo ngayon, babaliktarin mo. Kung asset method siya originally na recorded, sa adjusting entry, instead na debit yung asset, ang debit mo, expense. Tama? Now, kapag naman expense method, ibig sabihin yung original transaction was recorded as expense. Tama? So, pagdating naman sa pro forma adjusting entry, dapat debit expense ka, di ba? Pero dapat babaliktarin mo. Simple ano lang, simple pattern lang. So, instead
okay
na
po.
debit expense, debit asset ka kapag adjusting entry under expense method. Okay? Is that clear? Clear po ba?
Nagdidepende po siya sa ano na, sir?
Sa method na ginamit. And take note,
Opo.
hindi lang siya sa adjusting entry, account titles magbabago or may iba. Also with the amount that you will recognize for that adjusting entry. Okay? Take note, ulitin natin. Kapag deferred income, liability method, sa adjusting entry, ang credit mo, income. Okay? Ang amount na ilalagay mo, yung amount ng income. Okay? Deferred income, income method. Sa adjusting entry, ang credit mo, liability. Anong ilalagay mo amount? Yung natitirang liability. Tama? Pag prepaid expense, asset method, okay? Sa adjusting entry, anong debit mo? Expense. Tama? Magkano amount ilalagay mo? Yung expense na na-recognize. Prepaid expense, under expense method, sa adjusting entry, anong debit mo? Asset. Ano ilalagay mo amount? Yung natitirang asset. Okay? Clear po ba yon? Tama po ba yung nasabi ko?
Yes, sir.
Sure? O may nasabi akong hindi tama? Okay? So kung wala, let's now proceed with another illustration. Okay? This time, advertising company collected in advance a 1 year of ads placement contract in social media and traditional media for a customer amounting to 240,000. The company uses calendar year period. Anong requirement? Prepare all necessary journal entries and adjustment for the advertising company, both under liability and income method. And number 2, prepare all necessary journal entries and adjustment for the customer, both under asset method and expense method. Okay, so unahin muna natin yung i-record natin sa libro ni advertising company o ni business. Okay ba yon? So, pakita muna natin. By the way, so yung 240,000, that is 1 year, tama ba? Lumalabas kada buwan, magkano ang charge?
20,000.
20,000. Tama po?
Opo.
Okay. So, dito tayo. Ito magiging entry niyan in the books of the advertising company. Okay? Sa point of view ni advertising company, kapag liability method, kasi siya yung naka-receive, di ba? Ang entry niya for the original transaction on June 1, debit cash siya. Siyempre, naka-receive siya ng pera. Correct? Amounting to 240,000. Liability method. Ibig sabihin, dapat ang i-credit mo, liability account. Tama? And ang credit nga niya, unearned advertising fee. That is a liability account. Correct? Amounting to 240,000. To record advance collection of advertising fee for 1 year. Ito yung nangyari nung nag-record siya originally nung transaction. Now, liability method. Ano mangyayari pagdating sa adjusting entry? Nakita nyo na. Since liability method yan, dapat ang credit ko hindi liability. Dapat income. At yung amount na ilalagay ko dyan is yung income na na-recognize. That's why meron tayong ganitong entry. Debit unearned advertising fee. Binawasan natin yung liability, 140,000. Credit advertising fee. Sinabi natin, ito yung income niya for this period, amounting also to 140,000. 7 months ba? Tama ba yon? From June 1
Yes,
to
sir.
December 31?
Yes, sir.
Tama.
Yes, sir.
Kung 7 months times 20,000, 140,000. Yun nga yung na-earned ni advertising company for 2020. Malinaw po
Opo.
ba yun?
Yes, sir.
Ito yun.
Opo.
Ito yun, para ma-appreciate yung computation. So, may 240,000 divided by 12 months. Kasi 1 year lang, 20,000 per month. June to December, earned na yun. Tama? June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 7 months nga. 20,000 times 7 months, 140,000. Ito yung dapat na income. Since liability method tayo, ang credit natin sa adjusting entry income method at ang amount na ilalagay natin is yung income na na-recognize for that period. And eto nga. Okay? Clear po ba yon? Clear? Okay. Clear po? No question? No question yet? Wala.
Wala pa po.
Okay, next. Pagdating naman sa liability, sa income method. So, ganun din, no? Kaya lang may ibang account title and sa original transaction and din sa adjusting entry. And the amount, of course. Okay. Pag income method, nung na-receive niya yung pera, debit cash, 240,000, ang i-credit niya originally, okay, for the original transaction, income. Kasi income method nga eh. So, anong credit niya? Advertising fee. Wala na siyang unearned. So, ibig sabihin, sinasabi niyang income niya yan. Okay? Originally, yun yung ginawa niyang recording ng transaction. Next. So, kung income method, no, pagdating sa adjusting entry, dapat, instead na credit income ka, credit liability ka. Tama? Then, yung amount na ilalagay mo, yung natitirang liability. Tama? Kaya ito ang naging adjusting entry niya. Debit, advertising fee, 100,000. Binawasan yung ni-recognize niya previously na rent income. Credit, unearned advertising fee, 100,000. Ito na lang yung natitirang utang niya. Ito yun kung i-compute natin. Balik tayo ulit dun kanina. Tama? Ayan. So, kung makikita mo, ang not yet earned, yung 5 months na natitira. Tama? 20,000 times 5 months, 100,000. That's why, pagdating sa ano mo, sa adjusting entry mo, 100,000 yung nilagay mo na amount. Okay? Maliwanag po? Maliwanag po?
Clear, sir. Clear.
Okay. Okay. So, that's it for discussion class. Any question? Any question? So, ulitin ko. Okay? Pag sinabing, sige, let's go with deferred income. Ano to? Just to refresh. Okay? Before we go with your question portion. Then after your question portion, ako naman may question portion, the review question. Okay? Before that, review tayo. In general. So, when we say deferred income to na na-receive pero hindi pa natin earned. Ibig sabihin, utang natin. Pag prepaid expense to na bayad na pero hindi pa natin incurred. So, ibig sabihin, asset natin yon. Okay. Pag sinabi nating, but anyway, we have two methods pagdating sa deferred income. At pag sinabi nating liability method, no, the deferred income was originally recorded as liability. Okay? Ngayon, pag sa adjusting entry, anong gagawin? Pag liability method, instead na ang credit mo liability, kabaliktaran. Ang credit mo dapat income. Tama? Ang amount na ilalagay mo is the income you have recognized for that period. Maliwanag? Huwag malilito. Next, sa deferred income ulit. Pag income method, ibig sabihin, originally, the transaction was recorded as income. Okay? Now, pagdating sa adjusting entry, ano mangyayari? Income method siya. So, meaning, dapat baliktarin ko. Ang credit mo, liability account or the deferred income. Tama? At ang ilalagay mong amount, magkano? Yung amount ng liability na natitira. Good? Good tayo doon? Okay. Pagdating sa prepaid expense, okay, under asset method. Originally, ibig sabihin yan, yung prepaid expense was recognized as asset. Okay? So, pagdating sa adjusting entry, asset method, babaliktarin ko. Instead ng debit mo asset, ang debit mo, pagdating sa adjusting entry, under asset method, expense. Tama? Magkano amount na ilalagay mo? Yung amount ng expense na na-recognize for that period. Okay? Then next, yung expense method naman, prepaid expense was originally recorded as expense. Tama? Pagdating sa adjusting entry, anong gagawin mo? Babaliktarin mo. Instead na debit expense ka, debit asset ka. Tama? Sa adjusting entry. Now, anong ilalagay mo amount? Yung natitirang asset. Okay? Clear po ba yon?
Sir,
Yes. Question?
na-explain nyo na po ba yung number, yung mga prepaid po sa question po na nasa taas?
Saan?
Deferred
Sige.
pa lang po ata.
Sa anong tanong?
Yung pong in-explain nyo po.
Yes, nasabi ko na. Kakasabi ko lang before the prepaid. Question? Question? Kaya, malinaw yon. So, ang tip dyan, kailangan binabaliktad pagdating sa adjusting entry. Okay? Question? Class? Sige na, huwag na kayo.
Wala.
Kasi this is the last day of our free live webinar series for adjusting entries topics. Baka may susunod pa. Let's hope for that. Okay? Sige, question. Sige na. Any question? For those who are shy to talk, just write it down. No? Wala po? Last na to. Kaya magtanong na kayo. Question. Last. Wala? Ano natin? YouTube, may nagtatanong ba? Walang nagtanong. Dinilit. Question.
Wala po.
Wala. Anong iiyo lang? Lito lang. Okay. Saan po nalito? Ano to? Si Miles? Miles ba tawag dito? Saan nalito, Miles? Okay? So kung wala, tapusin na natin to by answering our review question. Okay. Review question number 1. So for those who are watching, just answer, okay? And participants, just answer in the chat box. An approach of recording accountable transactions in which revenue is recognized when received regardless of when earned, while expense is recognized when paid regardless of when incurred. Anong approach daw yon? A. Accrual basis. B. Cash basis. C. Single entry approach. D. None of the above.
Cash basis.
Letter B. Cash basis. Tama ba? Ito yung kabaliktaran ng accrual basis. Earned yan kapag na-receive na. Incurred yan pag, expense yan kapag nabayaran na. Kahit hindi pa na kukonsumo. Okay? Then, recognize as revenue yan kapag na-receive na. Kahit hindi pa kinikita talaga. Okay? Okay tayo dyan. Next question. Ito. An interest was received in advance and originally recorded as a liability. Which of the following is correct as to its adjusting entry? Okay. Ano to? Anong adjusting item to? Deferred income or prepaid expense?
Deferred.
Deferred yan. Okay. Paano daw ni-record originally? Liability.
Liability.
So isipin mo na yung adjusting entry pro forma mo.
B.
Letter
B.
C or D, siguradong mali na yan. So A or B ka na
B
lang.
po.
Letter
B.
D. Tama? Pag liability method, okay, so liability originally na record yon. So sa adjusting entry, instead ng credit mo liability, dapat babaliktarin mo. So income ka, yung credit mo. So the correct answer, the adjusting entry would include a credit to interest income. And that is correct. Letter B. Okay? Linaw po yun. Next.
Yes, sir.
Payments made in advance for future services or goods to be consumed.
B.
Ano daw? Letter?
Tag.
Payments made in advance. So, ikaw yung nagbayad para sa future service or goods na
A.
consumed. Letter? A.
A.
Deferred expense or prepaid expense. Okay? So, okay tayo dyan. Ito, tingnan natin. So, basahin muna. Which of the following is correct? Failure to record adjusting entry for deferred income under income method will result to understatement of net income. Failure to record adjusting entry for deferred income under liability method will result to overstatement of net income. Letter C. Failure to record adjusting entry for prepaid expense under expense method will result to overstatement of net income. Letter D. Failure to record adjusting entry for prepaid expense under asset method will result to overstatement of net income. Alin daw dyan yung tama? Di ba, remember, pag multiple choice, basta yung mahaba, yun yung tamang sagot. Nagkataon lahat sila, puro mahaba yung choices. So, hindi na okay yun, okay? So, kailangan alam natin kung ano talaga yung tamang sagot. What is the correct answer? C? How about the others? Just comment. B, 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 A, B, B. Wala bang C? Or wala bang D? Kasi puro B, A, B, A na nakikita ko eh. C ata. A, B, C? Okay. Puro A, B, C nakikita ko. So, dahil yan ang nakikita ko, A, B, and C, ang tamang sagot, D. Bakit? Kasi hindi nyo pinili. Okay, pero that's correct. Letter D. That's the correct answer. Bakit D, sir, ang tama? So, patunayan muna natin mali yung letter A. Failure to record adjusting entry for deferred income under income method will result to understatement of net income. Okay. Di ba pag deferred income under income method, originally yung transaction ni-recognize natin as income. Tama? Na wala daw nangyaring adjusting entries. Kung wala nangyaring adjusting entries, sir, di ibig sabihin yung income sobra-sobra. Kasi dapat bawasan natin yun pagdating sa adjusting entry, di ba? Tama? Kapag income method yung nangyari sa recording ng deferred income, yung yung deferred income na-record natin as income. Kapag walang adjustment, sobra-sobra yun. Kasi dapat babawasan natin yun, di ba? So meaning, pagdating sa net income, overstatement dapat. Di ba? Tama? So that is wrong. Kasi sinabi niya dito, understatement. Tama? Letter B. Failure to record adjusting entry for deferred income under liability method. So ibig sabihin, originally, nag-recognize tayo ng deferred income as liability. So dapat pagdating sa adjusting entry, may ma-recognize tayong income. Wala daw nagawa. So ibig sabihin, wala tayong income. And that will result to understatement of your net income. Hindi overstatement. Hindi ka nga nakapag-recognize ng income kapag deferred income mo is liability method. So dapat understatement to. So baliktad sila ng letter A. Tama? Letter C. Failure to record adjusting entry for prepaid expense under expense method. So originally, yung prepaid expense, in expense. Tama? So dapat pagdating sa adjusting entry, mababawasan yung expense natin dahil pag hindi, so sobra yun. Diba? So sobra yung expense kung wala tayong adjustment. No, kung sobra yun, tama? Kung sobra yun, wala kasi tayong ginawang adjusting entry, dapat understated yung net income kasi overstated yung expense mo Diba? Kung overstated yung expense mo, dahil nga wala kang nagawang adjusting entry, diba? Dapat understated yung net income mo, hindi overstated, as you can see in the letter C. So dapat understated to. Letter D, paano naging tama to? Failure to record adjusting entry for prepaid expense under asset method will result to overstatement of net income. Okay, pag prepaid expense under asset method, so meaning yung prepaid expense originally recorded as asset. So, sa adjusting entry, magde-debit expense ka niyan, di ba? Wala ka nagawa. Tama? So, yung expense mo, understated tuloy. Di ba? Kung understated yung expense mo, anong nangyayari sa net income mo? Overstated. And that is correct. That will result to overstatement of net income. Tama po? Tama po?
Yes, sir.
Very good. I hope nakakasunod yung iba. Now, let's have review, question, computation. Okay? Can you do it, class? Prepare the necessary adjusting entries lang naman. So, yung adjusting entries lang for each item. Ilang item to? 4. Okay? Unadjusted trial balance naman siya. So, yung nakikita nyo, yan. Prepaid insurance, 180,000. Unearned commission income, 45,000. Supplies expense, 10,000. Rent income, 110,000. Then, additional information provided below. Ito nga yun. Ang requirement only is for you to prepare the necessary adjusting entries for each item. Okay? So, obviously, lahat ng method, 2 methods under deferred income, 2 methods for prepaid expense, magagawa mo dyan sa problem na yan. Pwede bang sagutan? Try nyo lang. Okay? Sige, I will give you time. Magkano bibigay kong oras? Okay na ba yung 3 hours? Okay na ba yun? 3 minutes, kaya na yan, sir. Okay, sige. May nagtanong dito na saan yun. Anong pinagkaiba ng deferrals sa accruals? Deferrals, di ba? Ito yung nade-delay yung pag-recognize ng expense or pag-recognize ng income. Okay? Delay siya. Okay? Or should I say, hindi mo pa talaga siya income pag deferrals. Pag accruals, income mo na siya. Okay, ulitin ko. Pag deferrals, nakolekta mo na siya o nabayaran mo na siya, pero hindi mo pa siya income. At the same time, hindi mo pa rin siya expense. Yun ang deferrals. Pag accruals, hindi mo pa siya nakolekta, tama? Pero, income mo na siya. On the other side, pagdating sa expense, hindi mo pa siya nabayaran, pero expense mo na siya. That is accrual. Okay? So, pag accrual, anong approach? Accrual basis yan. Pag deferral, anong approach? Cash basis yan. Okay? Question? Any other question? Okay, sige. Back to the problem. So, first, try to answer it before I answer it and show the solution. Give you at least 3 minutes. Okay, bawal malito. Dahil pag nalito, hindi na. Hindi na.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Sige. Ngayong oras lang naman to, no? After this, kahit nalilito ka pa rin, cute ka na, okay? Baka mamaya sobrang malungkot ka na eh. Tataka ng mga magulang mo, bakit sobrang lungkot mo? Kasi sa webinar po namin kay Sir Pinoy Sir CPA, pag nalito po daw, hindi na cute. Eh, nalito po ako, hindi na ako cute. Okay? Walang ganun, okay? Siyempre, dito lang yan. Just for, ginagawa lang natin, sinasabi natin yan, for you to focus or understand it very much intensively. Okay? Okay? Are others answering? Try to answer it, class, para mamaya pag pinakita ko yung solution, sasabayan ko ng paggawa yan, syempre, of course. Ma-appreciate nyo. And dapat may calcu kayo, of course, para mas madali. So, yung iba, kapag may tanong, just write it in the...
Type po ba?
Yes, pwede, yes. Sige, please, para makita ko. Siguro ang tanong nyo ngayon, ano kayang method to mga to? Okay. Sasabihin ko, kahit walang sinabi na method, sinabi rin niya indirectly, no? Dapat alam mo yung method na nagamit originally. or paano na-record yung transaction originally para alam mo kung paano i-adjust. Madali lang to, no? Simple lang to. Simple. Okay? Simple lang yan. Yeah? Kasi the company itself is called Simple. Kung may sagot na, kahit dun sa ibang item, just write it down. Okay? Sige, last 2 minutes, then we will answer. Kung kahit hindi lahat yung item na nasagutan mo, yung sure na sure ka lang, just comment. Para at least may makita ko kung ano yung mga sagot mo.
Sir, alam ko di ako cute balance. Try ko po sa
Okay lang yun.
type.
Masyado nyo sineseryoso yun ha. Ang importante naman dito matuto kayo. Hindi yung malaman kung ano yung mali. Tama? Besides, it is free. Wala naman, hindi naman to graded and etc. So while answering, no, let me advertise our YouTube channel. So subscribe po kayo, Pinoy Sir CPA. Click nyo lang po yun. Na-find nyo lang, then subscribe, no. Then sa Facebook, like nyo rin po. Meron din tayo sa Twitter, paki-like na lang din po para updated tayo, okay? Pretty sure that there will be more tutorial videos all about basic accounting. May sagot na po ba? Okay. How about the others? Sige lang. Kahit yung ilan lang dito sa item na sure ka, just write it in the comment section. Hindi naman natin titinan kung mali. Importante kung ano yung tama. Okay?
Yan lang na kaya, sir.
Okay,
Di
sige.
pa po sure.
Sige, tinan natin. Let's solve it, okay? Together, let's solve it. Okay, nakikita nyo yung yung Excel? Teka. Okay. So, balik lang tayo sa problem. Unahin muna natin yung insurance. So, sa letter A, sabi niya, a 6-month insurance premium availed by the company dated September 1, 2020. Kailan ang adjusting entry cutoff natin? Obviously, December 31. Ito. Tama? So, okay. Okay tayo dyan. Ngayon, dun sa selected extracted accounts sa unadjusted trial balance ng company. may nakita kang apat. So, prepaid insurance, unearned commission income, supplies expense, rent expense. Rent income rather. Sa prepaid insurance, as you notice, naka-debit siya. Pero, tinan mo ang wording niya. Prepaid insurance. So, meaning, di ba take note, yung lumalabas doon sa trial balance, that comes from your journal entry. Di ba? Kung whatever the amount reflected in the trial balance, that comes from your recording. Or that comes from your journal entry at the same time that comes from your ledger. Okay? So meaning, kapag may nakitang prepaid insurance dito, prepaid. So paano niya na-record itong transaction na to? Paano niya na-record? Na-record niya as asset. Kaya nga niya sinabing prepaid insurance. Therefore, the insurance originally recorded as asset. And ang gagamitin mong method, of course, asset. Asset method. Okay? So, asset method.
Yes, sir.
So, kung asset method yan, kita tayo. Magkano ba yung amount? Tandaan muna natin. 180, then September 1 nagsimula. 6 months siya. Okay? Kita tayo. So, kung asset method, okay, ito yung nangyari nun. Itong ginawa niya. Sorry. Originally, itong entry niya. Prepaid insurance.
Cash.
Nung bumili siya ng insurance premium. Credit cash amounting to
180.
180. 1, 2, 3. Shit. Ay, wait. Using ko lang yung format. Yan. 180, 1, 2, 3. Yan. Yan yun. Okay? Ngayon, kailan daw nagsimula?
September 1.
September 1. So, using ko lang ulit yung format. Uy, nangyari. September 1. Okay. 2020 yan, of course. 2020. Okay. Now, pagdating sa adjusting entry, so kailan yun? Siyempre, December 31. December 31.
12.
Yan. Asset method, so ang pro forma entry mo, pagdating sa adjusting entry, debit,
Insurance expense.
expense. Credit, the prepaid expense. Tama? Binaliktad mo lang.
Yes, sir.
So, debit, insurance,
Expense.
Format na natin. Debit, insurance, expense. Credit, syempre, babawasan mo yung prepaid insurance. Ang tanong, magkano? Di ba sabi natin, pag asset method,
120 lang po.
then insurance, ang debit mo expense, then yung amount na ilalagay mo, yung expense na na-recognize for that period. Ang tanong, kung 180,000 yan, good for ano to? Ilang months?
6 months.
1, 2,
6
3,
months.
4. So, 6 months. Tama ba? Yan. Kano kada buwan? 30,000. Tama?
Yes, sir.
Mula
Tama.
September 1, October, November, December, 4 months yun. So, 4 months mo nang
Opo.
na-consume mo yung insurance. So, that is times 4. Dinivide natin yung 180 by 6 months, then times natin by 4 months to get
120.
the expired portion of the insurance. And that is 120,000.
120.
Tama po?
Oo, tama.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so question dyan? Wala?
Wala po.
Wala. Okay. May question ba? Yung iba?
Cute na pala ako. Cute.
Okay. Next. Supplies on hand, 2,000. Yung supplies daw na natitira, 2,000 na lang. Okay? So, hanap tayo ng connected account nito sa trial balance. Ito yun. Ito lang naman, nag-iisa eh. Supplies, expense. Diba? Magkano daw ni-record? 10,000.
10,000.
So, originally, yung supplies expense, no, was recorded as expense. Sorry, yung supplies was originally recorded as expense. Tama ba?
Opo.
Expense method. Tama? Now, to adjust, di ba? To adjust,
Gawing asset.
what will be
Ay,
your
gawing
entry?
expense.
Debit instead expense, asset.
Prepaid. Ay, asset.
Asset. So, to be specific, prepaid supplies. Credit mo, the expense. Supplies
Supplies
expense.
expense.
Pakita natin. So, balik tayo dito. Originally, kailan daw yon? Whatever is the date. Walang sinabi dun sa
Wala
problem.
pong date.
So, sabihin natin original date. Excuse me. So, ganitong ginawa. Supplies expense, 10,000. Tama ba? 1, 2, 3.
Opo.
Then, cash. Magbayad siya. Then, credit mo, of course, 10,000. Okay? Now, pagdating ng December 31, sabi daw, ang natitira na lang na supplies amounting to 2,000. Okay.
2,000.
Expense method ang ginamit for the prepaid expense. Therefore, debit asset ka pagdating sa adjusting entry. And an asset account related to supplies is either prepaid supplies, okay, or office supplies. Okay, so let's just use the prepaid supplies. Then anong credit mo? Of course, the related
Supplies expense.
expense account, and that is supplies expense. Ngayon, magkano ilalagay mo? Yung natitira na lang daw na asset. Eh magkano na lang daw
8,000.
natitira? Magkano daw natitira?
8,000.
8,000 ba?
2,000.
Supplies on hand is 2,000. Diba? Ito na lang natitira. So, what you will write here is not 8,000. 2,000. Okay? Diba? Remember, pag expense method, pagdating sa adjusting entry, debit asset method. Asset method, debit asset. Then yung amount na nilalagay natin is yung natitirang asset. And per our problem, ang natitira na lang daw, 2,000 only. So, ang ilalagay mo, of course, 2,000. Tama ba? Tingnan mo, pag ginawa mo ng ledger yan, you have debit. So, lagyan natin kunyari ng ledger account or ledger under T account form. Okay, bukan lang natin. So, ano to? Ito daw ay supplies. Tama ba? Ito yung una niyang ginawa eh. Supplies expense. Anong entry niya? 10,000 daw, debit. Yan yung una. Tapos, nung nagkaroon ng adjustment at the end of the month, binawasan niya ng 2,000. So, pakita lang natin ha. So, magkano ang net or balance ng supplies account mo? That is debit 8,000. Supplies expense rather. Debit 8,000. Tama ba ng supplies expense mo 2,000? Tama ba ng supplies expense mo ay 8,000? Tama. Kasi nga 2,000 ang natitira. So, dapat ang nagastos o nakonsumo 8,000. And with this entry, as we post it in the T account ledger, no, lumalabas na 8,000 nga yung nagastos mo. So, kung igagawin mo rin yung T account for the prepaid supplies, wala naman siyang previous entry dun sa original transaction, isa lang ang magiging mo doon. Sulatan natin, isa lang magiging input mo doon for prepaid supplies. Prepaid supplies. Debit siya, 2,000. Tama ba? Wala siyang credit. So, the balance is 2,000. And that's our entry. Our entries are correct. Yes. Yes. Question. May tanong? May tanong?
Wala po.
Okay, wala. So, next tayo.
Wala po.
Anong next? Sabi, last two items. Commission received dated December 1, representing 3 months contract. Ano ba yung commission dito? I mean sa mga account titles na nandito sa trial balance, alin lang naman diyan yung may commission na salita? Ito, 'di ba? Unearned commission income. Now, anong method 'yan? Liability kasi sinabi niya unearned eh. Yung kanina, yung supplies expense, obviously expense ang pagka-record, expense method. Ito naman, for commission, unearned, ibig sabihin liability method. So, tandaan mo na sa adjusting entry, liability method. Ang pro forma entry mo, debit, unearned. Kasi kabaliktaran pag liability method. Ang credit mo, instead liability, income. Diba? So, let's see. So, tandaan natin, December 1, dated siya, 3 months, then 45,000. So, let's put it in the solution. Okay, original date, December 1. Tama? Tama po yun? December 1 siya. Nung nakakolekta tayo ng commission, syempre nag-debit ka ng cash amounting to 45,000. Pero, what you have done is you recognize it as liability by using the unearned commission income. Okay? So, 45,000 din. Now, that is good for 3 months only. So, sulat natin. 45,000, kada buwan, magkano kaya ma-earn mo? Divided by 3 months. Amounting to 15,000. Tama ba? And, from December 1 to December 31, of course, ilang buwan lang yun?
1 month.
1 month lang. So, 1 month lang yung i-adjust natin. Okay. Tanong, liability method to. Ano nga ulit ang pro forma adjusting entry mo? Unahin mo na ang credit. Ang credit mo,
Unearned. Tapos po,
ang credit mo, income.
income.
Tama? Ang debit mo, unearned. Kasi baliktad tayo palagi pag liability. So, debit, unearned, commission income. Credit,
Commission income.
Commission income.
Income.
Okay. Sa pro forma entry na to, credit natin yung income. Ibig sabihin, dapat yung amount na ilalagay natin dito, yung income na na-recognize for that period. And alam natin na ang na-earn na for 2020 is just 1 month. And that is 15,000. So, there you have it. 15,000. Possible kasi dito ka magkakamali. Tama yung account title mo, mali naman yung amount na nalagay mo. So, yun yung hint natin kung natandaan saan yung kanina. Okay? That's how you record it. Okay? Next, last item.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, rent received from the lessee dated October 1, representing 10 months rent. So, paano siya ni-record originally? Income or liability? Income. Kasi tinan mo, ang ginamit niyang account title, rent income. Tama? Rent income ang una niyang, original niyang ginamit. So, income method ang gagamitin natin. So, ang pro forma in adjusting entry, debit, income.
Income.
Tama? Income, debit income. Ang credit natin, liability account dapat. Deferred income. Kasi income method tayo eh. So, dapat, pagdating sa adjusting entry, baliktad. No? Liability ang i-credit mo. So, needless to say, ang debit mo naman, income. Okay? So, tandaan natin, 110,000, 10 months, October 1 nagsimula. So, let's see. On October 1, off na lang ang mic. Okay. On October 1, naka-receive ng cash. Tama? Amounting to 110,000. I-recognize ito originally as rent income agad. Credit yan. Magkano? Of course, 100,000. Tama? Now, to get the monthly rent. So, 110,000 divided by ilang months daw yon? 10?
3.
10 months.
10
Sa-
months. So, kada
10 po.
buwan, ilan yan? 11,000.
10,000.
Tama? 11,000. Okay, that's good. Ngayon, anong method? Income method. Kasi originally, yung transaction na-recognize as income. So, kung income method, sir, okay, alam ko na yan. Babaliktaran ko lang. Sa adjusting entry, instead na ang credit ko income, dapat liability. So, unahin mo na yung credit para mas madali. Credit alin?
Unearned
Very good.
rent,
Unearned
rent
Rent
income.
Rent income.
So, yung remaining, of course, debit, rent income. Okay. Tandaan mo, since credit mo yung liability, that means you increase the liability. So, meaning, dapat yung ilalagay mo na amount dyan, yung natitirang liability.
Hindi pa natatanggap.
Tama? Yung hindi pa na-earned. Okay? Yung hindi pa na-earned. Kasi natanggap na to eh. Nag-debit cash na tayo eh.
Opo.
So, this time, yung hindi pa na-earn. Okay? So, nalaman mo na 11,000 yan. Okay. Ang tanong muna, ilang buwan ba ang na-earn? Kailan tayo
3 months.
mag-i-start? Kailan tayo mag-i-start? October 1. So, October, November, December. 3 months na yung na-earn. Tama ba? So, i-ano
Opo.
natin, computein natin. 3 months na yung na-earn. So, that is equivalent to 33,000. Magkano yung total natin na kolekta? 110,000. Okay? So, the difference of 110,000, 1, 2, 3,
77.
versus the 33,000
77.
is equals to 77,000.
77.
So, yan yung ilalagay mo dito. Ito pa yung natitirang liability. Yun ang sinasabi ng adjusting entry mo. 77,000. Shortcut, of course, alam mo na 3 months na yung na-earn. Total naman niya 10 months. So, ibig sabihin, 7 months yung hindi na-earn. Times 11,000, 77,000. Tama ba? Tama po?
Opo.
Po.
Opo.
Okay. And that's all for last day of webinar series.
Meron pa susunod, sir?
I hope so. Gusto nyo ba?
Gusto pa, sir.
Talaga. Let's see.
Ano po ba?
Let's see.
For video sa YouTube channel, sir.
Pakita.
Oo, gagawin
Galing
natin
niyo po,
yan.
sir.
Gagawin natin yan. So, we will do that. Surely we will do that. Hanggang matapos natin na siguro, I think, kahit mga
Adjusting
merchant.
entry na po tayo
Yes.
sa YouTube channel.
Actually, wala pa dun yung posting ng ledger, then unadjusted trial balance. Matatapos natin yan, the whole accounting cycle. Then we will have the merchandising business. Let's see, no? Sana samahan nyo ako dun. Okay?
Opo, sir.
Talaga?
Sasamahan kita, sir. Kailangan ko yun eh.
Okay?
Ito lang ako, sir.
Any question?
Sana, sir, teacher ka na lang namin.
By the way, I'm professor talaga. I'm a professor.
Sir, saan po kayong professor? Sa school po. Doon na lang ako papasok.
For the meantime,
Charot.
ano muna? Huwag muna natin sabihin, okay?
Kaplan ka mag-face reveal, sir.
Let's see. Okay?
Kung TV, pa-shoutout sa vlog mo.
So, any question? Wala po? So, sana may naintindihan po tayo, no? So, kung wala, YouTube channel, ano po, Pinoy Sir CPA, just search for that, no? Lalabas naman yun. Okay? Sana you really understand the discussion for today. Okay?
Thank you po.
So,
Thank you po, sir.
muli, maraming salamat po. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
God bless,
God
sir.
bless.
God bless po.
See you on YouTube channel.
Okay, see you. Sa ulitin.